What's going on, my super fam? Today we have a fun video looking into the abyss of patch 3.8, and more specifically we'll be discussing some of the best free-to-play teams that you can actually use to clear this abyss, as kind of like a usual thing on the channel, since I always love to discuss about team comps. Anyway guys, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, as it is a free way to support me, plus we do have a lot of events and giveaway on the channel, so I'm sure it will be very beneficial for you. And so with that, let's just jump right in. Now first off guys, here are some important notes regarding the video that I want to discuss before we move directly into the abyss. And first off is that since this is basically kind of like a free to play team build surrounding the abyss, the characters that are going to be used will mostly be 4-star characters. 5-star standard character will be considered as well, because of course even if you are free to play, you will still be able to get these 5-star standard, and some popular 5-star character may be considered as well, kind of like Raiden Shogun for example. Now generally guys, if you are a free to play player, then you do want to invest as much as you can into the character that you have on hand, because while yeah, unlike Dolphin and Will, who can actually spend a lot of money into improving their characters, since free to play player only have a limited amount, I really would just suggest you, if you are serious about clearing the abyss, try to invest as much as everything you have into your current character. Now of course I won't be going in depth into specific character build throughout this video, otherwise it takes forever, and you will want to check that out in my other character builds. But overall, the team that are going to be showcased have been proven to clear the abyss with 4-star weapons. These are either going to be my team specifically, or there are some teams that I took inspiration from other Genshin tubers and I will credit them whenever I do so. So those are basically some of the disclaimer important notes regarding the videos. Right, now before we move on to the teams, you would kind of want to have an idea about the abyss 3.8, and specifically in this video we'll be just covering floor 12, because of course if you are able to clear floor 12, you will just be able to clear the whole of the abyss itself. Right, now when it comes to floor 12, do remember guys, is that you can just try to change team depending on each of the chamber so that it fits the best of your team lineup. You don't just really have to use the same team throughout 3 of the chamber, because it can be challenging at times, so do keep that in mind. Now in the first half, any kind of elemental reaction would generally be good. However, one of the most important thing you want is gonna bring Hydro, because of the Pyrolector shield in the first chamber. Now if you can, try to also have a crowd control character like an Anemo crowd control, because the first half can have a lot of enemies that you can crowd control to make your life a bit easier. And among your team build, it would be generally better to have healer instead of shielder, because in the chamber 2 where the shadowy husk enemy is, they will get buff if their attack hits a shielded enemies. For the second half guys, the best element to bring here would generally be Electro, because there are actually a lot of primal construct who enters invisibility state, and whenever they do, the best option is just for you to use Catalyze or Hyper Bloom. You don't really need a crowd controller in the second half, because there are a lot of heavy boss enemies, so crowd controlling won't be helping you too much. What's better though is that you can focus a lot into AoE DPS, because especially in the third chamber of the second half where the 2 Bishops, you technically have to kill them at the same time, because otherwise the other Bishop will be revived within 10 seconds. So those overall are the most important point when it comes to this specific abyss of 3.8. Now guys, let us hop into some of the best free to play team comps I have seen surrounding this specific abyss. First duo, this is gonna be an inspiration from Slan's channel, where in the first half it will be Yanfei, Xingqiu, Yao Yao, Sucrose, and second half will be Chongyun, Bennett, Xiangling, and Rosaria. A very good duo that covers each other really well. We have technically Bergian team going around in the first half, especially with Yanfei around here guys. Yanfei is still an absolutely amazing character for 4-star, especially if you do have her constellations. The more constellation you have on her, the better she gets. But in terms of on-field pyro DPS for 4-star character, Yanfei is still holding up really well, and she have access to AoE damage as well, core, which will help you specifically while in this abyss. Of course, Xingqiu is going to be one of the most important character within the first half, since as I've mentioned before, he's the best character to deal with the Pyro Elector, and even so on in the later part of the abyss, Xingqiu is definitely going to be there to help you create core so that Yanfei can do bursion damage. Not to mention he helps you with a bit of healing and especially resistance interruption that helps Yanfei as well whenever she is on field. Yao Yao of course is one of the best 4-star healer we have right now, not to mention the amount of Dendro that she is able to apply for the team is just absolutely fantastic. Plus she can be using the Faf Lance so that she helps a lot with your energy regeneration for the team. Sucrose of course still the best character to give you EM as a 4-star character aside from Nahida of course, but Sucrose is still holding up herself so very good because she is a Nemo, where helping with 4-piece VV Shred alongside with a bit of crowd control for the team, and an absolutely perfect fit alongside with this team where you also want to focus a lot on EM numbers. For the second half, we of course have a melt team. This time bring a bit of the old national team where it has Chongyun, Bennett and Xiangling. Of course, we know this 3 duo still works absolutely perfect alongside with each other, and especially Chongyun guys, his burst melt damage is still absolutely insane if you invest a lot into him. Not to mention if you do have his constellation, he does help you a lot, so that is a really good thing. Bennett and Xiangling is of course still there for the core pyro damage of the team, and here we have Rosaria in addition to, where she also helps you a lot with cryo application. So overall a very simple melt team, but at the same time absolutely powerful. As long as you invest a lot into these characters, they will be dealing you a ton of damage. Next up, Duo 2, we have an inspiration from Omega, where in the first half it features Dendro MC, Yao Yao, Xingqiu and Thoma, and in the second half it will be Sucrose, Fischl, Bennett and Xiangling. First half is also Bursion, but quite a bit different from the first duo we have, because these 4-star lineup, I feel that many of us have access to more than the first one. Now if you didn't really know, then Thoma is still considered to be one of, if not the best character to slot into Bursion team, because he is able to trigger Bursion for you very well and consistent. Works really similar to the first Bursion duo team we've discussed, but something you have to keep in mind is that for Dendro MC's burst, you kind of want to avoid it to be infused with Pyro most of the time, because if you did remember, then her burst, if it infused with Pyro, it will instantly pop, though it does deal a bit of damage, but that is not going to be as impactful if she were to be infused with Hydro, where it extends the AoE of her burst, helping you to apply a lot more Dendro. On the second team, we'll technically have kind of like a Sucrose driver team alongside with Overload. Still an absolutely powerful team, because of course Overload will benefit a lot from Sucrose EM giving, and I'm sure you've already know how powerful these characters are, especially Fischl, still one of the best electro character in the game right now. This team will be helping you perform very consistently throughout this abyss. Do remember to cast Fischl's Oz and Xiangling's burst during Bennett's burst, because they do snapshot and you will be able to make the most out of it. For Duo 3, we have Lisa, Dendro MC, Yao Yao and Xingqiu, and then in the second half it will be Tainari, Mona, Kuki Shinobu and then Fischl. An interesting team to start, because especially we are going to be featuring Lisa, one of the most underrated character in Genshin Impact right now, especially after Dendro increase. Lisa's ranking has been shot up a lot ever since. Especially guys, if you have Lisa's constellation, she becomes even more powerful, because the amount of electro her burst is capable of applying. Not to mention guys, she's also capable of dealing a lot of damage as well, makes her a very valuable on this team. Alongside with that, of course, we have Dendro MC and Yao Yao to be helping applying a lot of Dendro element and also doing quick weaken here and there, and then Xingqiu to be creating Hyper Bloom, and of course to deal with the first Pyrolector. Second team, we have an interesting lineup and utilizing two of the standard 5-star character, which is Tighnari and Mona. Now of course they will be depending on whether or not you have two of these characters, but guys, if you've been playing Genshin for quite some time, I do believe that you should be having at least one of their copies on your account. I've been testing these teams out, guys, and I love it. It performs absolutely fantastic in this specific abyss, especially when Tighnari as a character himself is a very good character already. This team feels like a quick swap team at times because you're able to generate a lot of energy, plus the character don't really need to stay on field for too long, and you'll be swapping around all of the character to cast their burst very frequently. Cookie of course here to be the healer for the team. Now since Cookie is kind of like a close AoE applier of her E skill, and Tighnari being a bow user, however guys, you don't really need to stay too far away when you're using Tighnari, so Tighnari and Cookie Shinobu will still be able to work decently well with each other. And of course we have Fischl here for more electro application and off-field damage, and Mona guys is still one of the characters that gives you the highest buff damage in the game, where she will be able to help you with that alongside with hydro application. She's still able to perform that very consistently. And then our next duo, we have Hazel, Bennett, Xiangling and Xingqiu in the first half, and then Raiden Shogun, Cookie Shinobu, DMC and Sucrose in the second half. So we're going to be having a Hazel Anemo driver, and of course Bennett, Xiangling and Xingqiu is just going to be a perfect fit whenever you're having on a Hazel driver team, because as usual, as long as you invest into these 4 characters, they will be dealing you fantastic damage, not to mention how much AoE you're able to create from this team. A very comfortable team to use, guys. You don't really have to worry too much about energy regen, they just do it themselves. Absolutely powerful team whenever used in this abyss. And then on the second half, we'll be utilizing Raiden Shogun, as I do believe that many of us do have Raiden Shogun on our account already, so we're technically going to be able to utilize Aggravate Raiden, with Sucrose here to help us out with VV Shred alongside with EM Giving. Cookie Shinobu of course is going to be here to help with healing capability, and Dendro MC, the most important character, to help you with applying Dendro. Now of course, if you have your Yao Yao build, you can also use Yao Yao here in place of Dendro MC, or you can switch out with Sucrose. It will of course be down to your choice and depending on whichever character you have built a lot more and is comfortable with using. Now guys, I do believe there are a lot more good free-to-play teams for you to be using out there. These are just some of the few recommendations where I feel that it's easy to build, where I believe you guys have access to most of the character. These teams are really powerful. I have tested them out. They work absolutely fantastic alongside with each other, and technically speaking, they are pretty easy to build as well. The only thing is that you do just have to invest into them as much as you can so that you can maximize the damage output, so that you have an easier time with using in the abyss. So guys, I hope that it have been a helpful video for you so that you can clear the abyss much more to get your Primogems and save up for Fontaine content. If you do have any question or other team recommendation, feel free to leave it down in the comment section and I will get to you there. Again, if you are new to the channel, guys, do subscribe to the channel as it is a free way to support me, and we do have a lot of giveaway coming in the future, so I do believe it is a win-win situation for you guys. As always, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me till this part of the video, and with that, I wish you a super day and I will catch you on my next video.